Jess here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to my vlog for this round of the final book support group. So it is that time again. We're in May, and it is time to tackle all the sequels. I have my TBR right here, so I'll quickly run you through what I'm reading and for what. I've got Catch Me If You Candy, which is the, 18th, 19th book in the Bake Shop Mystery Series for the winner of Poll Pick. I have Night of Dangers for final book. I have Brian's Hunt for TBR Vet. This is also a final book. I have Witches of Brooklyn Spell of Time for manga, graphic novel, comic, novella, etc. And this is the most recent book in this series. I have Twisted Fates for Continuation Station because this is a series I really needed to get back to, and it would mean I would only have one book left. And then I have Destroy the Day as most recent release. I think that's the prompt, or like recently released or something like that. This is the most recently released sequel that I have access to. And this would also finish the series. So I'm going to try to read all of this in 3 days, and wish me luck because this is a lot of books. Although several of them should go really, really fast. So we'll see. If I have time and I manage to get through all of this, I want to finish out Twisted Fates, that series, because the third book is also on my greater May TBR, and it would be really cool to finish that this weekend as well. So that is my TBR for the next 4 days. I'm hoping to get through all of it and then some. We'll see. I'm very excited about all of them. I'm probably least excited about this one because the series has been kind of average, but the second book left on such a cliffhanger that I needed to know how the series wrapped up, and since I owned it, I decided why not, and it kind of worked because I knew the final book support group was coming in May, and I read book 2 last month, so that's probably the one I'm least excited to read, but everything else I'm very excited to dive into, and we have quite the eclectic mix, because I have a cozy mystery, a middle grade fantasy, a middle grade kind of like classic fiction. I mean, granted, it came out, I want to say in like 2003, but like this is like a series from my childhood. And it is very, very well known. So, like, it probably would have been contemporary at the time. But it's not really historical fiction. So, like, just fiction. But middle grade fiction with a book series from my childhood. A fantastical graphic novel. A YA sci-fi. And a YA fantasy romance. So, like, I'm really covering the gambit here. I've got most everything that you see in series. So I'm very excited to kind of dive into all of these, and hopefully we'll have mostly 4 stars. I say that because I don't see this getting 4 stars, but I think the rest of them all have the ability to be 4 stars or above. So fingers crossed that I have a really good weekend, and I will check back in with you at some point to let you know how I'm doing. So day 1 of this round of the final book support group is done, and I thought I would check in because I finished some books. First, I'm going to mention the one I'm partway through, and that is Catch Me If You Candy. This is the one I'm reading for Poll Pick, and I'm on page 81. So a little bit of progress in this. This is a cozy mystery that follows Jules, who in the first book was working on a cruise ship with her husband, and at the start of the first book has returned home because she and her husband had some drama, and it's now her estranged husband. And she comes back to her hometown where she helps her mom with the bake shop that her mom owns. And of course, mysteries ensue. In this one, it's almost Halloween in Ashland, and one night everybody is dressed up, and she finds a realistic dragon costume slumped against the front door of her bakery and finds out that the person inside the costume is dead. And it's even more eerie because her mom's Mahjong, Mahjong. I know it's a game. Mahjong group discovered a note warning that there was going to be danger to a dragon. So she's a little creeped out by that. And I'm assuming she's going to get drawn into this. I've gotten to the part where she's found the body, but I don't know much else about what is going on. But so far, so good on this one. We've only just started the mystery, so it's hard to tell where this is going to land on the star rating. So that is one I'm partway through. The first one I finished is Brian's Hunt, and I was reading this for TBR Vet. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This is the 5th and final book in Brian's saga. And this is a story that follows, well, a series that follows a boy named Brian who ends up on a small plane headed to visit his dad, and there is a medical emergency with the pilot, and the pilot dies, the plane crashes, and he has to kind of survive on his own in the wilderness. And we've been following his journey through several books. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed how this ended. It felt very authentic to everything else Brian's been through. This wasn't a book the author had intended to write. He had planned originally for it to end with book 4, and I kind of understand that because this story doesn't necessarily feel needed. And I feel like book 4 does tie things up nicely, but I also feel like this still fits with Brian's story. He also said in the author's note at the end, or the afterword, I think they called it, that he said in book 4 that that was the end, and now here we are in book 5, so he's not going to say no to more Brian stories, but since he has sadly passed away, I think I can mark this off as a series I've now finished. I don't really want to say what Brian's up to in this one, because I think discovering the journey is kind of part of Brian's story, but I do think it stays true to Brian's other books. We have a Porky. Hi, Pork. Hi. All the kitties are gracing you with their presence. The moment I let this one go, she's got to take over the camera. Come here. Oh, okay. Hi. Hello. Hi. You coming over too, Buggy? There's another one right over there. Come on. Come on. Yeah. All the cats are here. You're getting 3 for the price of 1, I guess. This is always making videos interesting, having them help. So, I do think this fits with the greater series, and the way it's written feels very Brian. Like, he didn't lose Brian's voice. And I enjoyed the story for what it was, but like I said, it wasn't necessarily needed, but I'm not going to complain that I have it, and I can take this series off of my series to continue list, and it's one of the ones that has been on there for the longest, possibly the longest. I would have to double check, but I'm pretty sure this is the series I've been reading for the longest time, because I started it in like 6th or 7th grade when I read Hatchet. So crazy to think I finally finished it. And then the last book I finished is Night of Dangers, which is the final book in the Adventurers Guild series, which I was reading for final book. And I gave this 3.75 stars. This series follows 2 boys, Brock and Zed. And in the first book, they're getting ready to be sorted into guilds, and they have the guild that they would like to go into. And unfortunately, they end up kind of getting drafted into the Adventurers Guild because nobody really wants to be in the Adventurers Guild because it's dangerous. And your life expectancy kind of goes down when you get drafted into the Adventurers Guild, because the idea of this guild is to kind of protect the town. And obviously that can be very, very dangerous. So we kind of see Zed and Brock dealing with the disappointment of not ending up where they wanted to be, and all of the dangers that come along with where they do end up. I thought this was a solid end to the series. I thought it fit well with the other books in the series. I really liked seeing Zed and Brock's journey in this, and how far they had kind of come, and the way it all came together in the end, and the way it wrapped up. There was a twist at the end that I did not in a million years see coming, that I thought was very clever, and I really enjoyed that. And I just overall thought this was a nice little series. It does mention I think that the authors really like Dungeons and Dragons, so I think this might be kind of sort of Dungeon and Dragon-y. So if you like D&D, you might really like this series. I don't really know anything about D&D. So maybe if I did, I would have connected with this more, but something to keep in mind if it is something that you like, that this might be a series that really clicks with you. So I thought it was a decently little series. It's not going to be one I reread, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And that's my update. Not a bad first day. I also took part in sprints, so I can check that off. And I took a nap as a little bit of self-care. So the only things I need to finish are my poll prompt, my graphic novel, my continuation station, and my new release. So after the first day, to be down with 2 prompts, reading-wise, and partway through a third is pretty dang good. I'm going to try to check in every day. We'll see how it goes. And hopefully I will have an update tomorrow, because, I mean, I'm planning on reading this tomorrow. I should be able to finish it, and I should be able to finish Catch Me If You Can. So we're on a really good track to get through my entire TBR and maybe squeeze in another read, like, you know, the sequel to this, which is the 3rd book in that series, which would cross that series off of my series to continue as well, which would be amazing, because that would be some insane progress for one weekend in series. So I'm going to wrap this cup up here, and I will see you again tomorrow to let you know how I did. So day 2 of this round of the Final Book Support Group is over, and I thought I'd give you another update. So first off, I finished Spell of Time, which I was reading for graphic novel, manga, novella, etc., and I gave this 4.25 stars. This is the 4th book in the Witches of Brooklyn series, and we have company. Hello, Cielo. She was sound asleep till I started talking to y'all. So this is the 4th book in the Witches of Brooklyn series, and I really enjoyed this. I thought this was another fantastic addition to the series. In this one, we get a bit of time travel to add to the magic of the story. We're following Effie, who is learning all about being a witch and has witchy friends and stuff like that. So I liked the time travel aspect. I think that the art style is really nice. Cielo, they can't see me if you do that. Come here. Oh. I really like Effie and learning more about her magic, and we see it develop some more in this one, which I thought was really, really interesting. Yeah, I thought this was another really great addition to the series, and I hope that we get more in the future, because I really love the magic of this world, and I want to explore more of Effie's magic and what she is learning. And then the other book I finished today is Destroy the Day. I read this on sprints and had such a great time with it, and a great time chatting with everybody about my experience of reading this, because I was hosting sprints all day long. And this is the 3rd and final book in the Defy the Night series, and I gave this 5 stars. I absolutely love this. It was so good, and I'm kicking myself so hard for waiting months to pick it up, because I've had this since it came out in January. I pre-ordered this and waited months to pick it up. What was I thinking, people? So in this series, we have 2 main POVs. We have Prince Korik, who is obviously the prince of Kandala, and there is a sickness that is going around, and only the Moonflower can cure it. And then we have Tessa, who kind of lives in the wild, and she is trying to help steal moonflowers to make the cure for those that can't afford to buy it. And we kind of see both of their journeys as they're living in 2 different kind of parts of Kandala and trying to figure out how best to deal with the sickness that is affecting Kandala. And obviously their adventures have expanded from there to the 3rd book, which I can't tell you anything about what goes on in this book because it would spoil things. But I love how this wrapped up. It was so good. It sucked me in from the word go. I have loved the journey that not just Korik and Tessa have gone on, but some of the other characters who surround them and how we've gotten to see that journey displayed. There is an interesting friendship that develops in this book that I absolutely adore and made my heart so incredibly happy. It kind of came out of nowhere, but like, I love it. I think it's brilliant and such a good addition to this story. There were tons of twists and turns, and it kept me so super engaged throughout the whole thing. And like I said, I love the way this book wrapped up. I cried. I felt all the feels. I'm going to miss these characters so incredibly much. Like, I can't even put into words how much I'm going to miss these guys, and I had forgotten how much I missed them until I dove into this book and went, oh, yeah, right, I really do love this series. So, absolutely love this, and I'm so grateful to this readathon specifically for making me pick this up, because while I did have it on a tentative TBR, if it hadn't been my newest release of a series that I had access to, I might not have picked it up this month. It might have been a back burner thing where I would go, oh, well, I'll get to it if I have time. And then it would have gone back on my shelves. So I'm very, very glad that I had that little extra motivation to pick it up now, because I honestly really should have picked it up back in January. Really kicking myself. But I absolutely adored this and am just such a great ending. I love good endings to series. And then I made a little bit more progress in Catch Me If You Candy. I'm now on page 115. So again, progress. I think that's like 30 pages, which is not bad considering I spent most of my day reading this. I mean, it is a bit chunky. So I'm still enjoying this. I don't really have much more to say than I did in the last clip, but I did want to update you that I had read a little bit more. Hopefully tomorrow I can finish these two, which would then allow me to get a little fun on Monday and, you know, I want to, if I enjoy this one, I want to keep going, read the third and final book in this series, which would allow me to finish that. And then, I don't know, we'll see what I end up picking up. I lean towards maybe picking up the last Vanderbeekers book, because that would be a really quick read. And is also the last book in a series, which means I would get to finish another whole series, which would be really cool. So we'll see what Monday brings. Let's get through Sunday first. And I will check back in at the end of Sunday to let you know if I got through these two books or did anything else. Day 3 of the Final Book Support Group is now over, which means we have one more day left. And I almost forgot to check in, which is why you're getting this view with the poor lighting, because all of my lights are off and I was getting ready to curl up in bed and read. So, crappy lighting, Chris, it is. First, I finished Catch Me If You Candy, which I was reading for Poll Pick. This, I believe, as I've said before, is a cozy mystery series I've been reading. This is the second most recent book, so I have one book left, which is completely amazing and just incredible that I'm that close to being caught up. And I gave this 3.75 stars. The mystery wasn't my favorite, and anybody who's ever heard me talk about this series knows I do not love Carlos, and there was too much Carlos in this one for me, so that definitely bothered me. It brought down my rating a bit, and of course we have a Cielo, because we can never have a video without a Cielo if she can hear me. So, I had too much Carlos, and the mystery wasn't necessarily my favorite, but what I love about the series is the relationships that Jules has with the other members of her community, and that is what really draws me in and makes me very invested in these stories. So, it is a series I will continue to read as long as there are books, because I really love the community vibes you get in these books. So, one more to go. It came out in February, so whether I can catch up on that this year or not is going to depend on whether my library has access. But we're going to give it a try, and this has definitely made me at least one step closer to being caught up. And then the final book that is on my Final Book Support Group TBR is Twisted Fates, and I was reading this for Continuation Station, and I finished it, and I gave it 4 stars. So this is the second book in the Dark Stars trilogy, and this is a time travel trilogy. So in the first book, we meet Dorothy, who is in 1913, and she is being forced to get married, and she doesn't want to, and ends up running away from the wedding and running into Ash, who has traveled back in time from Seattle in 2077. And she thinks he's just piloting a regular plane, sneaks on his ship, and ends up in the future. And so we see Dorothy dealing with being in the future, Ash dealing with this unexpected passenger he's brought back with him. And one of the things that happens when you go through time is that you sometimes can see pre-memories. So you can see things that are going to happen to you in the future, and Ash is dealing with the fact that he has seen the moment of his death. And we kind of see their stories go from there. There is a lot of traveling back and forth through different periods of time. We get to know Dorothy better as a character, obviously, in the future. And we get to see the future from her perspective, because she's gone from 1913 to 2077, and a lot of things have changed. So it is very interesting to see the freshness of that, but also contrasting it with Ash, who's lived here for a while. I've really, really enjoyed all of the twists and turns that have happened. This one left me going, wait, what? I'm wanting to immediately pick up book 3. So that's what I did. Because I am on page 195 of book 3. I'm just about to start part 3. And holy crap, y'all. If I thought this one was twisty, whoops, as I throw it around. If I thought this one was twisty, this one is even twistier. So I'm going to try to finish this before I go to bed, because I need to know what happens. Because there have been so many twists and turns, so many unexpected moments, and so many wonderings of what do I think I know that I don't actually know because of all the twists and turns. So this is called Dark Stars. I don't know if you can see that with the crappy lighting I'm in right now, but I very much want to finish this tonight, and that would cross off another series on my series to continue, which would be amazing. And when I finish this, because I'm going to finish this at some point, I think I made the decision on sprints today that I will devote the rest of the Final Book Support Group to getting through Winter's Heart, which is the next book in the Wheel of Time series that I'm on. So the reason I'm doing this is I had originally thought about reading the Vanderbeekers, because I'm on the last book in that series. But when I originally looked, I could get the audiobook, and when I looked today, others had tried to check it out, so I'm now in line. And I'd prefer to listen to the audiobook, because I think the narrator has done a really good job bringing the kids to life in that book, because it's a series that follows a family of kids. So I thought, what better way to finish the Final Book Support Group than to make a giant dent in this tomorrow? If I can't read, another final book, I don't have any other final books on my TBR. I just have a bunch of continuation stations that I could read, but if I'm going to read that, I might as well read this particular continuation station. So we're going to see what kind of progress I can make in this tomorrow after I finish this. And like I said, I should finish this before I go to bed. So tomorrow, after I get up, I'm just going to devote whatever time I have to read tomorrow to reading this big boy. So that is my plan. That is my check-in. I am astonished that I've managed to have such a successful round of Final Book Support Group. I think it's completely down to sprints. I'm so grateful that everybody is coming out and hanging out with me and reading with me, because it has definitely helped with some of the bad brain days that I've had, and it is just really making me feel like I'm building this nice little community. So that is going to be my plan. I want to curl up and read, because I am starting to get tired, and I do want to finish this. So I'm going to wrap this clip up here, and I will see you again tomorrow to finish this vlog off. officially Tuesday, and me and CLO are here to wrap this vlog up. I have had an amazing round of the Final Book Support Group. Going into today, I had already finished my TBR. So anything else I read was just icing on the cake. So what I read today was I finished Dark Stars. I gave this 4.25 stars, and that means I can check another series off of my series to continue list, which is amazing. I really enjoyed how this wrapped up. I thought there were some interesting twists at the end that I wasn't expecting. This series had a lot of things I really, really loved. Bugsy is trying to come over too. My lap is only so big, guys. Okay, you come here. Come here. Okay, come on. Oh. Come on. Oh, I've gotten rid of the cats because they were not helping, and I only have two hands, and like, this one was over here going limp noodle, this one wasn't coming on camera, was only like slightly getting in front. It was a whole mess. Anyways, I thought this ended with some really good twists. I thought it was a very solid YA sci-fi romancy kind of series. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm glad that I can and Cielo's back. I'm really glad that I was finally able to finish the series because this has been a long time coming. And then my big goal for today was to work on Winter's Heart. And I can say that I for sure did that because I am now on page 242. So I made some really good progress in this. This is the 9th book in the Wheel of Time series, and she is wrecking over here. This is an epic adult fantasy. We have lots of POVs. I've enjoyed my read of this so far, like the series as a whole. No, you can't rub against the camera. Come here. I've enjoyed my read of this so far. It's not like a new favorite or anything, but I am curious how it ends. I have characters that I like, characters that I don't, and I'm invested enough that at the moment I planned to see it through. So here's hoping that this dent has given me a good head start for next week on finishing this. So in addition to reading 254 pages, she's caught, of Winter's Heart, I finished this whole stack of books. So this was the 3rd in a series, and I was reading this for new release, so I finished this series. This was TBR Vet and was the 5th and final book in this series. I was reading Spell of Time for graphic novel, manga, or novella, and this is the most recent book in this series. I was reading Twisted Fates for continuation station, and then continued on and read Dark Stars, which finished that series. I was reading Night of Dangers for final book, and I finished that series. And then I read CLO Catch Me If You Candy for Pole Pick, and that is the second to most recent book in that series. So I only have one book left, and I'll be caught up in that series. So this has been a very, very successful round of the Final Book Support Group. I had a lot of fun, and I can't wait till the next round when we get to do it all over again. But that's going to be it for this vlog, because she is driving me just off the wall right now. So I'm going to wrap this vlog up. Thank you for joining me in this vlog. Thank you to Steph for hosting once again. I will see you all next time. All of my social media is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me winter-themed emojis in honor of Winter's Heart. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!